Uncle C, back in the office, and in this video I'm very excited because I'm going to be displaying exactly how to maximize your chances of having life essentially figured out. This is going to be the hypergamy hacks or the hypergamy cheat codes in order to have the Christian Grey effect with the majority of women that you speak to or the majority of women that you're interested in. Now keep in mind, when I keep this at a high level, if you're the type of man where you can focus for the next 10 to 12 minutes, plus you're intellectual enough to actually break down what I'm talking about, and you're on somewhat of a passion/purpose grind where you're trying to find yourself as a man and you're starting to understand the fundamental roots of masculinity, this video is going to serve you very well. And the reason why it's going to serve you very well is because not only am I going to be covering both sides of what women are looking for in a man and at certain ages, but here's the fact. Once you get very good at understanding yourself and very good at understanding the dating game and life as a whole, this middle column is going to have you covered on every single area. And the things that you are and the things that you're about to turn into is going to not only bring you lots of long-term life fulfillment, but you're no longer going to struggle with women, you're not going to struggle with flakes, you're not going to be struggled with being left for another man. Any of the things that typically sabotage even most successful men as they get older are the things that you're going to understand, because I'm going to be breaking it down on this side of the whiteboard, which is sex appeal. On this side of the whiteboard, we're going to be covering provisioning/status and why both are needed. By you defaulting into this is an alpha trait and this is a beta trait, not only are you selling yourself short, but you're losing the ability to maintain the fact that at some point in life when these intersect, you will be at the upper hand and no longer at the disadvantage. Now stick with me for the next 5 to 10 minutes, because as I break this down, you're going to have massive ROI in life, massive ROI with your money, massive ROI with your status, and massive ROI with women. Let's actually dive in. The very first side of this whiteboard today that we're going to be covering is the S3X Appeal of a man. What is this, and what age ranges is this most needed? Well, first off, this is the thrill and the excitement that a woman gets when she's around, an alpha male. Okay, this is the thrill that a woman gets when she's around a man who knows how to psychologically spike her emotions. Okay, this is emotionally charged or emotionally leveraged game. Not only is this where you get good with your verbal skills, with your seduction, with your charisma, but this is also where you can really take advantage and reap the rewards of having a good body, because you've been putting the work into the gym, you've been lowering body fat, you've actually done the work on yourself. Okay, you look like the type of guy that looks like S3X. When you do this and you have this side figured out, this is where you're going to get women who essentially can't even control themselves when they're around you if you play your cards right. This is where you get comments like, well, it just happened, one thing led to the next, and we were naked, okay, things of that nature, or he's just hot, so I went for it. This is where women typically feel no shame, no guilt, no remorse, because biologically this satisfied what they needed, and that's if her genes were to reproduce, would this guy be a viable fit? 9 times out of 10, if you can master this side, you can hack that cheat code, or you can hack that side of hypergamy for that hour or that night or that evening or that adventure, and you can have a lot of fun, okay? It's okay to have fun, but what you have to remember is that your purpose and whatnot on this side of the whiteboard is going to come into play simultaneously. And not only that, I'm going to be showing you why your purpose, your affluence, your status, and one day your wealth will actually help you on this side. So let's actually dive in. From ages 16 to 21, what a man needs to be focusing on, what a man should be focusing on is going to be his fitness, his nutrition, right? Covering the health side of what it means to be a strong, dominant, aka full stack man, and his game. Now, for those of you that do not like to use the word game, here's what you have to remember with women. Everything is a game. Everything is a chase. Everything is cat and mouse, back and forth, Bonnie and Clyde. This is what wins her heart, so she actually feels like she's indoctrinated into your frame, and so she feels like she might be in love. And even if it's not love for her in the long term, which it typically never is, this is the short-term spike that can win her heart. Ages 16 to 21, these are going to be the most important things due to the fact that A, you got to get your body on point. This is going to carry out for your entire life. If you look at some of the greats, right, some of the greats in life, some of the greats in business, right, fitness and nutrition and getting themselves dialed in. This is key to good hormones. This is key to feeling confident. This is key to speaking confident. Like, get this dialed in. Why is game also important? Because you will see men who are ages 35 to 45 and they never figured out this side of what women need to view you as the type of man with S3X appeal, and this hinders them for the rest of their life. Ages 16 to 21, this is where you figure out how to flirt, how to get an emotional reaction out of women, how to carry yourself with confidence. Okay, these are staples you have to have. And oftentimes on my channel I can get a bit ranty or a bit into tangents, but ages 21 to 25, this is where you can start to really hone in and focus on your charisma and your masculine frame. Why am I putting it at this age range? Because 16 to 21, this is going to take a while to build. It's going to take a while to understand how to dial in your body. It's going to take a while to understand how to dial in your speech with women, right? Your verbal seduction patterns. But ages 21 to 25, true charisma, this is where this can start to shine, and masculine frame. This is where you don't necessarily get nervous in situations anymore. You're starting to become more comfortable in your own skin. And this is so key, because before, when you're learning game to figure yourself out, when your charisma's dialed in, this essentially now becomes you. You're a stronger man. Now, ages 25 to 35, this is where a guy can start to focus in on his style, and he starts to become more rooted in who he is. Now, pay attention to the words I'm actually using for this: rooted, like strong, stable. You're rooted in your personality. Now, this comes between 25 to 30 due to the fact that oftentimes to get this, you're going to have to master this side of the whiteboard, and you're going to have to start to have some money. You're going to have to start to have some sort of lifestyle for yourself that fits your personality and that fits your persona. And ages 30 plus, what you're really trying to dial in is your congruence, right? Congruence with who you are in every way, shape, and form. How you are in game and how you are with women can honestly turn into how you start to carry yourself, even with your friends and peer group, when it comes to sarcasm or being a fun guy to be around. And that sort of personality and trait can actually help you win in business and whatnot, and vice versa. This is understanding people and social skills as a whole. What happens is when men start to see that they can have areas of success in one area, what happens is they can copy paste that over into another. So if this was you, if you almost have an alter ego, you have a day and you have a night. You have a Tyler Durden and you have the other side of Tyler Durden, whose name I can't remember. Okay, if that's you, the flip side of this was when you have fun, you also need to know how to work too. And that's why it's a fine balance between all of this. And the fine balance that I've marked out on this side is going to be the provisioning and the status. This is going to help you win with women who are ages 24 to about 40. Okay, and these types of women, they're looking for different things. Now, does that mean you have to date them? No. Does it mean you have to marry them? No. Does it mean that you're going to be noticeably more attractive than the guys who have not put in the work? Absolutely. And this is why, if you're a man and you watch this style of content, typically I find that men have not necessarily figured this out in their younger days, and what they're doing is they're making up for it as they get older. This is not necessarily bad. Just because you weren't that high school jock or bad boy does not mean you can crush it with, does not mean you can't crush it with women later. Here's what I'm getting at. The provisioning and status side of women and of female nature is super important, because this is the provider side that she looks for in a long-term male. Okay, and what this does is this keeps them chasing. She's like, ooh, I see so much potential. I don't want to lose out on that potential. I'll play the cat and mouse game back. Right? I won't make him do as much as the pursuing because I see so much value. This is where value add of the man comes into play. Notice over here, there's no value add. This is self-serving. Okay? This is where you've made yourself a man of value, and it's noticeable, and you impact others. This is where you can play the long game for impact. Now, the very first portion, I think that this starts at about ages 18. Anything prior to that, it's too woo-woo, and you don't necessarily get the full benefits because you haven't necessarily developed fully as a man yet. Okay, ages 18 to 25, there should only be 3 things you're focusing on, and 3 only. The first is identifying your purpose, why you're here on earth, and that may be a big thing to bite off for some of you. And not only that, you can be malleable over time too. This doesn't have to be fixed. This is fluid. Remember this. The second is build skill once you've identified that purpose. And last is make cash. That's it. That's what mode you need to be in, 9 to 5 and even a little bit further, even on weekends and whatnot, if this truly is your purpose with whatever it is you want to do. And for some of you, that may be pursuing a craft in college. For some of you, that may be being entrepreneurs. For some of you, that might even be, learning a skill or a trade. Regardless, this is good. 18 to 25 stack cash, stack paper. Okay, know what it's like to put 20K in the bank and have security. Know what it's like to put 50K in the bank and have security. Know what it's like to put 100 racks in the bank and have security. For those of you who can do this and master this by 25, you're going to sleep so much better at night than your peers who have only mastered this side, who are living for the fun. You can have fun too, but you know how to actually shift your personality when it comes time for that. You can play both sides. Okay, now, the next portion, up to the ages of 35, I have a question mark here because at the time you become known for your skill, known for your career, known for your success, known for your trade, this can come at any age. So this is the first portion. As you're getting older, you need to ensure that you're leveling up within your career, within your persona, within what you're known for. Which means ages, question mark, to 35, this is where you're known for your skill or trade, you're starting to develop status for it, and you have authority in your industry. This is important because what comes with authority is going to be peers that are also successful, this is going to be recognition, and this is going to be a high-value social circle. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where not everybody can enter your frame because you've made yourself a man of value. Not only will they feel intimidated, or they may think as if it's a different level of playing field, but you're going to want to be filtering who you're letting into this too. And last but not least, 35 till death, this is where two things come into play. Competence. How good are you at what you do? How smart are you? How competent are you at automating? Maybe even hiring out teams, having other people help work for you. You become a man of wisdom who people can go for. And the last is wealth. Now, here's what happens. This is why I call this the Christian Grey effect. Because if you look at Christian Grey, he's the billionaire, playboy, success boy, who can command what he wants, who all the women think is a massive turd on. When these two start to intersect, you're going to notice I have a cross point right here. And this is where you become the man. This is where you become the man on all levels. And this is what being full stack is. What being full stack is you have a guy who's done the work on every single level of life. You've actually understood how to live. And the reason why this is so important, the reason why this is really the only two sides of life you have to focus on completely, is due to the fact that this covers health, this covers wealth, and this covers your reproductive issues. These are the only things that matter in life. That's it. That's it. In order to get by and live a good life, live a purposeful life, you need to have your health dialed in, to look good, feel good, have high sex appeal, not get sick, not get illnesses. You have your wealth on point. You have less stress. You can sleep good at night. You feel good about yourself, right? Maybe you're investing. Maybe you've grown a portfolio. Maybe you have disposable income. You don't live on other men's terms. You live on your own. And the last is reproduction. There are so many men who have health dialed in and wealth, but they have no game, they have no flirtatious ability, they can't get the women that they want. Their reproductive issues have not been solved. When you have every piece of the puzzle, I don't know what other issues can come about. If they do come about, they're probably made on the internal, or they're external circumstances that hit you, such as the economy or family issues or things of that nature. But why is this the Christian Grey effect? Because you become the successful man who won. And how do you do this? You put in your time. You see, where your time goes is what you're going to get good at. And where your time goes is where other people are going to recognize that you've had success in those areas for. Which is why I want you to have both sides of this playing field covered. And if you do, you're going to be massively successful in life. Now, there might be a lot of you watching this video and you're sitting there wondering, okay, Casey, this is great. How do I actually get started? How do I get started in putting in the building blocks in life? And if that is you, I advise you to do one thing and one thing only. Right now, I've opened up registration for my men's MBT Full Stack 1%er program, which means if you're a man who is just in the beginning phases of this, you're starting to want to put your life together. you're wanting to actually have the game, the seduction patterns, you're wanting to actually master everything that it takes to be full stack, I want you to go down below and I want you to book a call with my brother Cole. Because if it looks like you're a good fit to work one-to-one with me, Cole is going to actually schedule you in for that consult. You're going to have the opportunity to hop on that interview. And if it looks like a fit, he's going to give you an extended opportunity to actually work with me. If you like this video, I want you to hit the like button. I want you to check out that link below. Hit the subscribe button and we will see you in the next one.